I have these lovely little gems of blackberries today, and so I'll be making mulled blackberry infused vinegar. It's actually really easy to do. I start with 2 cups worth of blackberries and I mash them, or in my case, I'm using my immersion blender. Now I'll add 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 1 teaspoon of cloves, 1 teaspoon of allspice, and half of a teaspoon of cinnamon. Now I'll mix those together. The powdered ingredients tend to try and float on the top a little, so I just need to get them to mix into the whole mix. Using the immersion blender is going to make smaller pieces as opposed to just mashing it by hand, but I mean really either way will work. When I use the immersion blender, I don't do it for very long because I don't want them completely liquefied. Now I'll use my jar funnel and add all of that liquid and the bits, right, into my jar. And this is a quart-sized jar. This will make a little bit more than a pint worth of vinegar, so if you want more than that, you can always multiply the recipe and do it in either a half gallon or a gallon-sized jar so that you have more. So then I place a lid on it, and I'll put this in a cool, dry, dark location, probably in my pantry, and 2 to 3 times a week, I'll take it out and I'll shake it up. And I'll do that for 4 weeks straight. Now that the blackberries have fully infused into my vinegar, it's time for me to strain out the solid blackberry pieces. And I'll do that with my husband's honey strainer. I just use the bottom portion. It's the fine part, and it happens to fit perfectly on my pan. Now, I wouldn't have to can this, but it's nice to know how, especially if I want to do large quantities, because this will stay good for a very long time in my refrigerator. So now I just pour it through my strainer, and I want to get as much of the liquid out as possible. I just use my spatula to move it around on the strainer so that I get as much of the juice as possible. I'll actually save this blackberry pulp because it works very well to add to the top of salads. Now I'll place this on the stove and bring it to 180 degrees. I don't want it to boil or I'll lose too much of that vinegar. Now I'll place my vinegar in a pint-sized jar up to 1/4 of an inch of headspace, which is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. I'll then use a clean damp cloth to wipe off the rim of my jar. And then I'll place my lid and ring on until it's fingertip tight. I'm using Superb canning lids today. Actually, I use them all the time now because I really like the Superb lids. They do such a good job of sealing and staying sealed up to 36 months as opposed to 18 months with the ones that I used to use. I have a link as well as a coupon code in my description below. Now, generally speaking, if I was going to do a small amount like this, I wouldn't actually can it. I would just put it in my refrigerator and use it right away. I really like using it as a vinaigrette on salads, as well as in addition to meats. But when I do want to can it, I'll place it in a boiling water bath submerged by 1 to 2 inches of water and process it for 10 minutes if I'm at sea level. I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll process it for 15. But I won't start my timer until after it starts to boil. Now that my timer's gone off, I'll remove the lid, turn off the heat, and let it cool for 5 minutes. Then I place the jar on a heat-resistant surface, and if there were more jars, I would make sure they were spaced about 1 to 2 inches apart. And then I would allow them to sit there for 24 hours so that they can get a good seal. I can tell that it has a good seal if the center of the lid is depressed down. If it is, then I remove the ring, wash off the outside with hot soapy water, and store them in a cool, dry, dark location, like my pantry. If any of them didn't seal, then I would put them in the refrigerator and start using them right away. With it being vinegar and refrigerated, I imagine it would be good for well over a year. So for the taste tester, I actually really like this vinegar. Of course, it has that strong vinegar taste. I don't actually recommend drinking it just plain, but to get a feel for the flavors in it, it can be really good. I like to use this one with, say, just a little bit of ranch, and then you have this on there with your salad. Oh, it's super good because not only do you get that blackberry flavor, but you get all those spices that are in with it.